But now I'm insecure and I care what people think.
My name's Blurry Face and I care what you think. My name's Blurry Face and I
Go with you, I'll 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 go. I don't bother anyone, nervous when I stand, joking on the circumstance, only.
Hey people, so I said I might or might not do this video in the review I did for Scaled and Icy. I decided, you know what, I'm going to do a breakdown of the 21 Pilots, the 3 albums, the stories behind them, how they link together, and also a kind of like a theory that I have, which I may or may not be like correct, but anyway. So first off, I have some notes here just because I'm not going to remember every name, so it's there for reference, all my kind of doodlings there. So first off, so the first album is in this kind of trilogy, I want to call it a trilogy, is Blurry Face. So Blurry Face doesn't necessarily have much kind of a massive like story behind it, not like Trench, but it just link up with Trench anyway. But Blurry Face basically represents insecurities. So we'll go back to Blurry Face in a minute. Trench is the one that has kind of like a deep story. So basically it's set in a city called Dema, and it's ruled by 9 bishops. I did actually write all the names down, but I don't need to tell you all of them. The only one I need to tell you is Nico. So Nico is the head of these 9 bishops, and Nico is actually Blurry Face. So there's that. Again, I will reference that later on in my kind of breakdown. So you've got the bishops, and then you've got the banditus. Now the banditus are aimed to set the people free from Dema, and basically they wear yellow because bishops, for whatever reason, they can't see yellow, so they're not seen. So that's basically, in short, the story of Trench. So then you go to Scaled and Icy, which you could argue does have a link, doesn't have a link. At this point, as I said, with Trench, you go through a journey of trying to kind of get out of this place. And when you get to Scaled and Icy, you're pretty much free, but it's sort of kind of, there is sort of hints of it creeping back, especially with the song No Chances, which I'll mention that later on in detail. So that's basically the story of the whole kind of, whatever you want to call it, background story of the 3 albums. Now, if you look into it deeper, there's kind of like a story within a story, like each one has metaphors. So if you look at it, so for the first one, the city of Dema, I don't even know if I'm even saying that right, Dema, you could say represents the human mind at this point, because if you think about it, as you kind of, the kind of world in, you know, the album Trench, you're kind of trying to find a way out. So it's kind of like a puzzle sort of thing, and your brain's kind of like a puzzle sort of thing. I don't know. When it comes to bishops, these represent the negative feelings. So if you go back to Blurry Face, already we know that Nico is Blurry Face and represents insecurity. So all the other bishops represent other kind of negative feelings. So it could be like loss, sadness, that sort of thing. So you've got that. So you've got all the bad feelings that's happening in your brain. So there's that. And then you've got the banditus. Now the banditus, I looked at it 2 different ways. It could be just a metaphor for hope, or you could look at it as individuals. So you could look at it as, it could be family, or it could be, you know, friends, that sort of thing. Or you could just look at it as a general, you know, general kind of generalization of hope. But yeah, that is pretty much what I get from the whole kind of trilogy. It may be right, it may be not. It's just a music theory. Anyone actually watched that guy on YouTube that does film theories and ruins your childhood films. But yeah, that's basically what I get from the actual from the kind of whole story, and how it's like a story within a story, or a story that has a metaphor to it. And if you go back to the song in Skilled and I see the No Chances one, I see that as finally being the final kind of battle. It's not the closing song, it's like the second to last song, but with that one, that they did it quite clever. So how I kind of went a little bit in detail in the review anyway, but you have the chants, it's kind of like a chanty thing, a chant of no chances, which you could argue say that's the bishops, because if you look at it this way, it's kind of like if you use a metaphor, as I said before, the bishops of being sort of the negative feelings and stuff. And if you listen to the song, you could say, the bishops have come back because, they're kind of peeved you've pretty much escaped. But if you look at it in the metaphor way, you could think of it, well, all these negative feelings do, sometimes come and go, that sort of thing. And then also in the song, not in so many words, I don't know it like word for word, but basically saying, we're sending help. We've lost so many bodies. I know that's not like word for word, but I'm not. The album's just come out. I don't remember the lyrics word for word, and you can argue that's the band. You can say that's the Banditous singing that, and then if we look into it in more of a kind of metaphor way, you could say it is the it's, your family or friends just kind of trying to kind of support you and stuff, and trying to drag you away from the dark feelings that you're having. But yeah, that just went a little deep, but some artists make you kind of, they kind of have stories and stuff that just make you kind of just explore and everything and come up with theories and stuff. But yeah, that is basically the story of the trilogy